demonstrate sculpting a head. I'm going to demonstrate a human head because that's the one I tend to get the most questions about. But you can choose to sculpt a human head, an animal head, a cartoon head, all the different things that we talked about. So any of these are options for you, but your trick and the reason why you have references is because you need to figure out what's going to push into the head and what's going to kind of pull out of the head so that you have a three-dimensional piece. Remember, there's no drawing on this one. So it needs to be, what can you make 3D, how can you curve it, and it shouldn't be a slab on a slab, right? It's all about sculpture, because this is your sculpture project. So there's a couple different ways to begin a sculpture, and one of them is using an armature. And look, I have some newspaper right here for my armature. What's an armature? Who knows? We used an armature once before for your teapot, some part of your teapot. Nobody? How about the spout? What'd you use for the spout? Yeah, the wooden dowel, and it acted as an armature. An armature is anything that holds up your clay while you're building. So for this project, you could sculpt by just crumpling up newspaper and just making like a smaller version of the form that you would like, and then you wrap newspaper around it like it's a present, like so. Make this a little tighter. I could do this, wrap a roll of tape. Once around is enough. I don't have to like mummy wrap this. That just wastes my time and my tape. And then I have a form that I can take little flat slabs and lute them together and build around. So if you're doing a larger sculpture, this tends to work well. Ours is not going to be too big, so it's okay to have a little bit smaller. We're actually going to start by building solid. And by doing that, we'll have to hollow it later. Because why? Does anybody remember why we have to hollow it? Yes?
Oh, the air will get trapped inside and explode.
Exactly. Perfect, because the air gets trapped inside and neither explodes or cracks for the air to get out. So we'll be talking about that towards the end, about how to make it so that you don't have to worry about that. All right, so put that back down there. All right. Now, to start with, I want to think about the structure of the head. So I want to think about what happens underneath the skin, because it's not just this round form, but what is actually happening in the face, where there's things that dig in, these eye sockets or these big holes, there's cheekbones, there's this structure under there. And if I have that in mind, then that's going to help me make things look more realistic. What shape, if I had to reduce this to like a three-dimensional form type shape, what would this be if you had to make it some sort of form? What do you think? What do you think, Andre? Got an idea for me? This whole thing? Is it a square? No.
It's a circle.
It's kind of circular. This is kind of circle up here. You sit up. What else? Maybe an oval. If I made a circle-ish, ovalish form, three-dimensional, can you think of an object, perhaps one you might eat at like breakfast time? That's kind of the shape.
An egg.
An egg, exactly. So your head is often like an egg shape. So if I were to go like this, I have this big lobe where my brain sits inside, and then it narrows as it comes together and narrows around the chin. So this is like the small part of the egg, and this is the big part of the egg. It kind of sits on a tilted axis, and your neck actually grows up inside of that. So that's kind of how your neck and everything fits together. Your chin sticks out a little more. It's a little smoother toward the back. But all those parts kind of fit together to get that form. So the first thing we're going to do is create a form, something like that. So let's see. Let's set this over here for now. And I'm going to get a big glob of kind of drier clay. The more mature clay is going to work a little better. If it's too mushy, it's not going to hold the shape I want it to hold. That one's really dry. And I'm going to make, let's see, how much do I want? I'll start with a little more. Not that much. See how it works. You might add more, you might not. All right, now, to start with this, there's all kinds of air pockets in here, right? There's all kinds of stuff that's not really what I want. I want this to be one even blob of clay. So to do that, I'm going to do something called wedging. We haven't talked about wedging yet, have we? I don't think we have. So wedging is really getting the air out, aligning the clay particles, and making it one even blob, essentially. So it's kind of like kneading dough, but in kneading dough you flatten and fold air in, and this, I want to get the air out. So You can see all those little cracks and things are going away. That's an easy way to do it. You can also push on it and roll toward you. Just kind of push it and roll it a little bit, and that gets it out. Notice I'm not flattening it. I want it to be one even mound of clay. And I want to get those cracks and things out of it. Alright, and it should be, by the time I'm done, it should be pretty much an even blob. And you do it for a few minutes, you don't do it forever. You do it enough that you get those out, so it's one even blob. Now, in this blob, I need to envision my form. I need to envision the head. So I'm going to look at that and say, alright, this side's a little smaller, so we'll make this kind of the top, I'll make this into the shoulders. And I think this is one of the hardest parts for students, because it's kind of hard to see your sculpture in a blob, right? You got to think, alright, how can I do this? So I start by cupping my hand a little bit and rounding the top. And I take my rings and everything off because they make dents. And I'm just rounding the top so it looks more like the top of a head to me. I'm going to make this the front. So I'm going to round that down a little more like a forehead. And then this will be rounded in back. And by curving my hand as I hit it, like this, then I'm getting that curve shape. Something like that. Now, if you're mad at somebody, not having a good day, this is the good part. You just strike, pretend it's them. There you go. I went a little high that time. You gotta squeeze in the neck. So, got that. There. You're done, sir. There we go. Next one. Gotta bring some chin back up there. That got a little low. Now, the back of the head, like I mentioned before, it comes in more gradually and your chin sticks out. So the back of the head, I often kind of hit with the heel of my hand. So that comes in a little more gradually. This clay is a little softer. It's bending on me. I want to make sure this is stable. There we go. And then I'm going to bring the chin down, flatten the face a little bit. So I'm starting to see that egg shape. You can do some like karate chops, yeah, yeah, to get the jawbone. You can always come back and say, you know, I took too much out there. Maybe I need a little bit more. Where's this piece of clay that I had? I need a little more chin. And if you do that, you got to really work it in so that you know there's no air trapped in there. That's one of the things I see with this project, where a student will add a piece for a chin or a cheek, and then when you get out of the kiln, you're like, here's the piece and here's your cheek. So make sure you get in there real good so that doesn't happen to you. Alright, so kind of getting about the head shape. I might play with it a little more if I had more time, but I want to keep moving along on this demo. And I'll fix up the shoulders. I'll even this out, make this a nice cut edge later, make sure it's nicely rounded. But I want to get to sculpting the features today. So, there's my face. Alright, you guys got to help me out with this. Is this a male or a female? How many would like it to be a boy or a man? How many to be a girl? Oh, the girls win. Alright. Now we need a name. Name suggestions. No one in this room can't be the name.
Robert.
It's a girl. Roberta?
Roberta.
Amber? Roberta, Amber, any other suggestions?
Chris.
Crystal? She seems fancy.
Leah.
Leah?
Okay.
These are all pretty names. I always pick like bizarre names usually. Alright, hands up for Roberta. Leah.
Said Robert.
Amber. Crystal. one's voting. Crystal wins. All right. All right, so, hello, Crystal. Nice to meet you. Let's figure out where Crystal's features go, okay? So, first thing we gotta do is kind of lay things out on the face. If I just start sculpting, it's gonna be really disappointing because I put it on there and I realize like, oh, the eye is here. I wanna lay it all out so I know everything's in the right spot and so I get my proportions correct. Now, if you are making a face where you want someone to look really surprised or really excited, it's okay to mess up the proportions. Like if I want someone to be surprised and make giant eyeballs coming out of their head, that's a great surprise expression. So you can play with these. You don't have to use these exact techniques, and that's why I'm not having you take notes today because these are all suggestions and you'll all vary from them somewhat. But this is some of the things I get the most questions on, is how to do things more realistically. So let's just say I'm not doing the super surprise face. I want proportional eyes, and I gotta figure out where they are on the face. How far down your face do you think your eyes are, fraction-wise? Half, quarter, third, 5/8? What do you think? A quarter down your face?
A third.
A third? Any other guesses? Anybody say a half? 2/3. Oh, that's ridiculous, I know. All right, I need a volunteer. Who wants to be my volunteer? Oh, thank you, Lexi. So, will you pass this back to Lexi, please? I'll do it too, and Lexi's gonna do it. Let's see, I'd like a tool that's not quite so clay-filled, which we're gonna do, and we're gonna do 2 people, so you know that this is a typical proportion. I'm not just a freak of nature, right? You're going to take this and use the tool to measure the distance between your eye to the top of your head. So don't do this. You're good, you're good. You're just gonna hold it. Hold it here. It's easy. Hold on to it. You can do it. So put it here. Just put it here, and then mark with your fingers the top of your head. Brandon, you want to do it? Thank you. So mark, put it in the corner, and then mark like where the top of your head falls. There you go.
Your head is not that big.
You want the, not just where your hair is, but like the actual top of your head. So is that the top of your head?
No.
Yeah.
Go a little higher. It looks like you got to get some hair in there. There you go. All right. Now you're going to take it and flip it. You might have to move your fingers. I had to move my fingers a little bit. And figure out the distance from the corner. So we did the corner of your eye to the top of your head. And now we need the corner of your eye to your chin. Let's see. Corner of the eye to the top of my head. Right there. What do you think?
About the same.
It's about the same. Your eyes are halfway down your head. Did you ever think that? They are. I'm not a freak of nature. It's how they are. Thank you very much. Round of applause. Thank you. Nice job. All right. So, and we don't realize that because you have these big, blank, uninteresting foreheads. When you get older, you have wrinkles and things. The more action happens up there while you're talking. But most of the time, all the action when you talk is here. So your lips move, which makes your cheeks move, your eyes blink and move around. There's all this stuff going on. So when you look at someone and when they're talking to you, you look here. We don't tend to look up here. So we don't realize, and your hair covers a little bit, that your eyes are actually halfway down your face. So I have lots of students who put eyeballs like right up here and they get done. They're like, why does it look like his head's cut off? And it's because the eyes, if you're making it realistic, need to be further down the face. So the first thing I'm going to do is find the halfway mark down my face. And I'm going to draw a line. And this is going to be my eye line, so I know where the eyes are going to go. I'm also going to draw a vertical line because faces are mostly symmetrical, not entirely. What does that mean? Emily, what does symmetrical mean? Do you know? They're all equal. Like both sides are equal. Both sides are the same, right? So this side's about the same as this is. Not exactly. Your eyes are usually a little bit different. Everybody's a little bit off. They actually say you have like a nice side and an evil side. So you have homework tonight. I'm going to give you bits of homework. Basically, you have to check some of these things out in the mirror tonight. This is your homework. I mean it. What you need to do is go like this. See which side's nice, which side's evil. I read this article that said people always hold babies to the nice side. I was like, really? Someone research that? Like, is that what we should spend our money on? But like, all right, so we got the eye line, we got the central axis. Now, I tell students it's about half, half, half. It's not exactly. Everybody's a little different. We're all unique. You know, people have different proportions. But if we were to estimate, it's generally halfway down the face is your eyes, halfway between your eyes and your chin is the bottom of your nose, and halfway between the bottom of your nose and your chin is the center of your mouth. So I would take this now, I'm going to find another about halfway point, and that's going to be the bottom of my nose, and I'm going to go halfway down again, And that's going to be my mouth line. So I know where my eyes, my nose, my mouth are going to be placed. This is really helpful to have these things in place before you work. And you can always veer from these, but that's just one thing you can work with. All right, so I know where they're going to go. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to place the eyes. And I want to know, like, where I have to dig things in and where I have to pull things out to make it sculptural, right? I have clay in my hands and I'm going to do it, so you can all do it too. You're going to feel your face. Tell me what you feel. What do you feel? Where does it stick out? You feel skin? You feel your face. You have to feel your face. Everyone, feel your face. You feel your face. Thank you.
Your cheekbones stick out.
Cheekbone. Your cheekbones stick out, right? What else sticks out?
Your jaw.
What do you feel right there? What's sticking out? Where does it go in?
My cheek.
Under here it goes in?
Yeah.
Like this? It goes in? Okay, good. What do you think? What else sticks out?
Your jaw.
Your nose sticks out. Your jaw. Alex, what else? What else do you feel? Around your eyes, does it go in or out?
Eyebrow.
In.
Out.
And then your eyes go out a little bit, right? So you need both, right? What about around your mouth? What do you think, Ashley? What happens around your mouth?
Okay.
It goes out.
Oh, feel your face. I'll tell
And
you.
your eyebrows.
It goes in. Your eyebrows go in or out?
Out.
Out. There's a big brow. This thing right here. This big bone sticks out right here. So keeping in mind all this stuff. This sticks out. This sticks out. Your jaw. But it actually kind of goes in a little right here, and then this comes out. So we got to be thinking about the structure of that when we sculpt it. So I'm going to start by adding eye sockets. And just like the eye sockets in the skull, I'm going to press into the head and build some eye sockets because I want to build the structure of the face. That one got a little wide. There we go. There we go. Perfect, right? There's my eyes.
That looks like a game character, like Killzone.
Killzone?
What a button on it.
Kind of alien looking too, right?
Yeah.
So this is the eye socket. This is not the eye. I'm going to come back to that. I want to do the nose first. Because for the nose, I find it easier to get the nose in there and then work the eyes around it. We're a little softer. All right. So if I had to make a nose a shape, Georgia, what do you think? What shape would you make a nose? Like a geometric shape. Square, triangle, circle, what do you think?
Messed up tree.
A triangle, yeah. Noses are basically triangles, right? So I'm going to make a little coil. Stay with me here. So I'm making this, and what's a three-dimensional triangle? Let's think of ice cream perhaps. What do you think? A cone, or a pyramid. A pyramid would work too. But it's easier for me to make a cone. So I'm going to make a little cone. I just made a coil, and I squished one end as I rolled it, flattened the bottom, and then just stick it on there. There, nose.
Yeah.
Air socket.
Perfect.
Leave it like that.
It's a bit big,
If it's too big, it makes no story.
and there's going to be air trapped under there.
Score.
I think you could
I didn't smooth it in, I didn't score and slip. Unless I'm Bert and Ernie, it doesn't look like a nose, right? So,
kind of did.
that's a little bit, because it's the right shape. That's a really giant nose. So, I'm going to go a little smaller, so it's a little more proportional to the rest of the face. I flatten the back. You can either do that by pressing it against the side, so I can,
Noise.
It's getting there.
Squidward.
It's getting a little better. Squidward. If I was doing Squidward, it probably would be a little small now. Alright, so I take this, I'm going to smack it on there. Smack, smack. Push it in so there's no air trapped underneath. And then, these are my favorite tools for this project. I do not. Because I'm using clay about the same maturity level as this. So it's going to go together nicely, and I smacked it in. These are called wood sculpting tools. Perfect for a sculpting project. Huh? They work way better than needles for adding details because this tends to look like drawing. This looks like sculpture. So I'm going to find one of these. Let's see. I like this guy right now. I'll use this one. And I'm going to take this and use this to lute the edges of the clay into the face and make it a part of this face. So I bring this up. And then I can like shave off extra, even it out. Ooh, I kind of pushed it off a little bit there. Sorry. Alright, so now it's a part of the face, but it's not really sculpture yet. It still doesn't look like a nose. So I might push to the top in a little bit. I might bring this up. Oh, this a little better. And she's a lady, so let's make it a little dainty, right? There we go.
Where's the hair?
We'll get there. We'll get there. Gotta watch the time here. Alright, so there we go. We have the nose. Now, Speaking of things that go in, you have these things called nostrils. There's little grooves on the outside. And again, these are wonderful because they have little curved edges. I can bring this around and curve that in, and then I scoop away some of that extra clay. So it looks more like a nose sculpture on the other side. I'll do that one. Smooth that in. And then these are the perfect nose picker tools. Not for your own nose, please. Not. It's gross. Only clay noses. Shh. Please listen.
Got him.
No, you're not. You're chatting. All right. This is a chatty group today. What's going on? I should all be listening. Homework number 2, 3, whatever. I'm not going to do it now. I think it's all clear, but I don't know. Now I have this like fear. There's something in there. But I need you to look in your nose. You're going to go like this in the mirror. Tip your nose up and check out the shape of your nostrils. I'm not going to show you right now. But in home, tonight in front of your mirror, that's your next piece of homework. Check out the shape of your nostrils because they're not circles. They're not. I promise you. So, what shape is that? So now, what's her name? Stella? Hilda? Crystal? Sure. Roberta. Crystal. So now she has nostrils there. She's like, I can breathe, finally. I feel good. All right, good. And I'm not worried about...
But how can she say that she doesn't have a mouth yet?
She's thinking it. We're really connected. I know what's on her mind.
So
All right, so now I'm going to go back to the eyeballs. And I'm going to make eyeballs. Now your eyeballs are actually, did you know this? They're spheres that sit in your head. I'm not going to make a total sphere because I don't have it going all the way back. I'm going to make a football shape because that's what we see, right? No. So I'm going to make it kind of a football shape because that's what you see when you're looking at someone's eye. You can make it more of a circle if you like. That's up to you. I didn't bring Bob out here from the presentation. Bob, his eyes are large circles because he's surprised. Should have brought him. All right, let's see. Does this fit? Oh, way too big. That's better. Questions back there? Questions? Are there questions? No?
Because like you should like make the roofs and the eyebrows and like put that little chia stuff there, so then the eyebrows.
You could do chia eyebrows if you had like an old man that doesn't like take care of the eyebrows when they get like crazy long. Chia seed eyebrows is perfect. All right, so wow, it's still kind of
Or
big.
if you like wanted the guy to have a mustache or something, use like the chia.
You could. Girls, please. All right, so I got my eyeball. Now, I like to fix up the eyeball, and it's kind of like a footballish shape, just so it fits inside there. I like to fix it up in my hand. To do it here and hope it doesn't fall out and not mess up things around it, it's a lot harder. So I do a lot of the piecework in my hand. I'm going to take a loop tool, make it nice and clean, and I'm going to, I need a smaller one, I think. I use the circular part, and I'm going to cut inside, and I twist it, because that's going to give me a nice, oh, this clay is too dry. It's cracking on me. I had this sitting out for first period's demo, too. All right, try to be quick. All right, so I make this sort of ovalish piece. I squish the edges so it fits in there. It's got a little too much clay out here. There we go. Now, so I have this piece that's going to be my eyeball, and I want to get it fixed up first. I want to get all the details and things here before I put it in. So I'm going to take a pretty clean loop tool here, and I'm just going to set it in, and I'm going to twist it. And that's going to give me a nice circular shape. And I can make it a little bigger if I want. But I'm going to get this all fixed up here. I do want the bigger one. And if I want to make it look like this person's staring straight ahead. When you're looking straight at a person, do you see the tops of their iris? Or is it usually covered by an eyelid? It's usually covered by an eyelid. Do you see the bottoms? Sometimes. Sometimes it's just touching. Sometimes it's covering. But if I have eyes like this, where you see the whole iris, how do I look?
Crazy.
Like a normal.
Crazy. kind of freaked out usually, you know, like if someone's scared or surprised, you're like, whoa, your eyes go way open. So if you want to create that expression, then you want to have the eyes wide open. If you don't want to create that expression, then you want to make sure the iris is big enough that you can cover it with your eyelids. So I'm going to set this inside here. So right now, there's no eyelids, right? I see the whole eye, it's kind of popping out. I can get that scared expression. So if you want something like that, that works for you. If you don't want that, girls.
Can we make it like a Halloween thing?
You could. You won't get these back before Halloween's over though.
Yep, that's okay.
Alright. Where's my softer clay? This is all so dry. Alright, so I'm going to make a little ball of clay and I'm going to smash it. And you want this to be even thinner than your spout on your teapot. So really nice and thin. There we go. I'm going to put it on here. And I don't want canvas texture on my face, right? So I'll get a little bit of water, get rid of the canvas texture, rub it in so my clay is not slimy. And then I'm going to cut an eye shape out of there so that I can make eyelids out of it. And I'm going to play with them a little bit. Let's see, we'll go something like this. I'll make, that should be big enough. And this is extra, so I'll get rid of that. Alright, so I'm going to take this bottom one, and I like to, like I said before, I'm going to fix up this edge and get it just the way I want it before I put it on here. Because that way, I don't have to try and clean it up and not mess up my eye.
Look, it looks kind of like a mask almost.
It does right now, doesn't it? So I have that there. And I'm going to play with it, so I'm not going to rub it in quite yet. Let's see, let's get a little bit of that extra off on the inside. And then here's my top eyelid. I cut off the extra here so it's not coming over the eyebrow too much. Now, if I want Esmeralda, what's her name? Why can't I remember? Crystal. If Crystal's looking, she's still, it's pretty bright, it's pretty tall, right? She's still looking a little freaked out. What if I want her to look happy? What do my eyebrows do? My eyelids do when I'm happy?
Go up.
They go up. Oh, I'm happy. So maybe I want this to be up, but not quite that high. That looks like she's kind of staring straight ahead. What if I make one side, like the outside, ooh, that came off, edge come up a little higher, and then I angle it down. So it's angling down. Now, how does Crystal feel?
Ugly.
It's like she's squinting.
She's mad at you, right? She's kind of mad. The eyes coming down. Furrowing the brow a little bit. We could make the brows come in. She's mad, and we can make her real squinty. Now she's really mad. Or really tired. I don't know. But you can play with the curve of the eyelid. You can play with the angle of the eyelid. How does she feel today?
Ugly.
Ugly's not a feeling.
Yeah,
She's beautiful. We're going to make her beautiful.
you can feel ugly.
Happy? She's happy. Alright. She's happy.
Make her angry.
Alright. So we'll arc the eyes up a little bit so she seems happier. Alright, so now I have this. I'm going to take off a little bit of the extra and loot this in. So I'm going to take this, loot this in. I think I might be talking too long. We're going to be done early too, aren't we? Alright, so we got this. Now we need some sculpting around there. I'm going to go back to my, ooh, I like this one. Go back to my wood sculpting tool. Get rid of these little things. And maybe we give her a bit of an arced eyelid so she seems happier. I don't know if that came out happy or not. I'm working fast. It might not all be perfect. And then I would loop these in. Get this in place. Now what happens to my cheeks if I'm happy?
They like
Stretch.
I get lines here.
Yeah.
And what happens up here?
it goes up and your eyes squint.
They go up and my eyes squint a little bit. So maybe we want to add a little bit of the squinty there. Not too much because, you know. Well, how old is Crystal?
94. 6.
94.
I say 94.
6.
Well, good for her being that old, huh? All right.
Strong, independent woman.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to add a little bit of clay to that cheek, to be that cheek coming up. Oops. And then So I get that impression of her cheekbone rising up there, so she looks happier. Maybe I loop that in. And I'm not so concerned about surface here. What stage of clay do I want to work on my surface?
Leather.
Leather hard. I want it to get a little drier. So I want to get the forms in place, and I'll come back and fix up my surface. There we go. Now, we got to make her look happy, right? Oh, eyebrows. We forgot eyebrows. We didn't. I did.
She ain't got no eyebrows.
Not yet.
I don't know.
All right, there we go. So I'm going to give her some eyebrows. 1, 2, there we go. I got a little coil. Put that on there. There, she's got an eyebrow. Perfect, right? Does that look like an eyebrow? No, that's a caterpillar. Please don't put caterpillars on their faces. There's always somebody who puts a caterpillar on the face. No, that's not like that. Your eyebrows, to make them look like real eyebrows, unless they're super bushy, you don't need to add clay. If you're doing the old man who's going to have like chia seed eyebrows up there, feel free. But eyebrows, you want them to, anytime you do hair, you want the length and the direction, guys up here, of your mark to be the length and direction of the hair. So investigate eyebrows today. That's the next thing on your list in front of the mirror tonight. I'm going to make the lines start, and this is getting pretty high on the forehead right now. I did a little high for her eyelid.
She has a small forehead.
She does have a small forehead. I might need to add more. But I want little lines that kind of, she's almost got a monobrow too, that like follow the direction, and they shouldn't look like stripes. They should be slightly different angles because your hair is not all exactly the same, right? It's not a stripe. So I'm letting it kind of follow that form. It's arched because she's happy. Her mouth makes the way she's still going, no. All right, so we're going to play with the mouth a little bit. So let's see. Now your mouth does come to corners. So you do want to smoosh the coils at the end so that you get corners of your mouth. And it doesn't matter if you're a boy or a girl, you have a little divot in your mouth and you have this sort of movement. Now we think of it as being a feminine thing because, you know, women will wear lipstick and accent that. But if you're making someone realistic, you always have that, or some variation of that. Sometimes it's more pronounced than others. My clay is sitting out, it's been drying. So I like to take a little coil and I play with shapes, and then I'm going to make a little V in it for the center, and then I bring it down a little bit. So it's like a little birdie.
Those are the birds I mean. Like,
there you go. I did that last period, and then it dropped accidentally, and the bird just died on the floor. It was kind of sad. Wow, those are like giant lips, though. I'm going to take some of that off of there. So I can make that, put that on there, and then I take the bottom lip, and I'm going to play with it a little bit. She's like yelling at us right there, you know. I can play with the expression, maybe, and it won't be quite the same because of her eye. Maybe she's mad or sad, you know. So the way you attach the lips can make a big difference. Maybe we turn up the lips. Let's go up this way. You gotta make the top ones a little shorter, I think, to make her smiling. She doesn't seem real smiley yet. How are we doing there?
We're doing good.
Kind of a smile. I gotta get these turns up a little bit too to make it more smiley. But do you see how much you can really vary the expression by changing just the shape of the lips? So you can do a lot with that, adding the little cheekbones and things. I gotta make this top one smaller. I think that's why it looks a little messed up.
You got a lot done in that short time.
You know, I'm trying to work real fast. I am. Trying to get
How much
these
would you give that sculpture?
How much would I give it?
No.
Yeah, probably enough. Angela's given enough.
What are you giving it? What
I
do you
don't
think?
know. It's not done yet. I got a lot more work to
Okay,
do.
well,
It's
halfway
enough.
done, what do you think it's going to be?
I think it's gonna be. Well, I would make it an A. I keep working until I loved it. There we go. So I'm gonna have it there. If you were gonna, this guy, we made his mouth open. What happens to your mouth when it's open?
Teeth, jaw,
Tongue.
Your jaw goes down, right? So for this, we had to drop the jaw a little bit. We added some more, and we put in 2 little tiny teeth in there. If you're gonna do teeth, add them and then add the lips on top so they sit inside, and make each tooth. Little tiny pieces of clay you can lute in at the top, because if you don't, he looks a little funny with his 2 front teeth. But if you try to make like one slab and put grooves in it, it looks like you have like a grid in your mouth. It doesn't look like teeth, okay? So sculpting little tiny teeth works much better. All right, so I don't know. We're gonna kind of do that. Maybe we'll give her a little bit of a line here to emphasize the smile line.
Or the age.
or the age. That's right. So maybe now we could do things like this. I personally think older people are much more interesting to sculpt because there's a lot more going on.
Yeah, a lot more wrinkles.
Maybe she's got some wrinkles up there too, just like me.
She needs hair.
Something like that. All right, now hair. Excellent. You're right. Oh, ears. We forgot ears. Next homework assignment, check out the shape of your ears, and in, say, another class, check out other people's lobes. Free-hanging, attached ear shapes. They vary a ton, and they're very sculptural, very interesting. Well, so don't do this and, like, stare at the ears. That's creepy. Don't be creepy. Just sort of, you know, in some class where you're bored, look around. Obviously not this one. And just check out other people's ears, nose shapes, things like that. We're all wonderful and beautiful in our own skin and our own differences, and you should check them out because they're fun to see. So I did the wrong ear. I got the wrong side. Do your ears. This is students will start with this. They'll make an ear. Start with here. There we go. Put a hole in it. And stick it on.
Decent.
Why is it like you try to do anything? But can you turn around?
Do your ears stick straight out of your head?
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, they kind of go
fold
back.
with it.
Yeah, they kind of go back. They're along the jawline. Where do they start? Bottom is about where, if we had to line it up?
Top of your mouth.
Top of your mouth, bottom of your nose, somewhere in there. Where's the top?
Your eyebrows.
About your eye line,
Yeah,
and they
big
follow the jaw. All right, so let's see now.
Big old ears.
See, it's nice. It's sculptural. I kind of dug it in, but it's not.
Just this one.
It'll work. It's kind of the right side. So I'm going to go along the jawline. I go from the eye line to below the nose. Ooh, this nose needs a little more sculpting. It's gotten a little ugly. All right. And then I can take that and loop that in to make it part of the face and have it kind of tilt back. Now, before you do the hair, before you do that,
Can you try your
well, I'm trying to get your attention. Some people are getting distracted. I've been talking a while. I need to first give it the lobotomy. This is why it's really important you don't let it get too dry. Because if it's too dry, when you slice this, it will slice your finger. This is the wire tool, slices clay fabulously. I'm going to take this, slide it down
What?
You just cut your ear
She
off.
said it
a little bit.
Oh, did you?
It's fine. Like 2 days ago.
And then I'm going to slide it out so you get like this.
Now it looks cemented.
And then,
You could add
he lost his head!
you could add a brain there.
I could add a brain if I wanted, but I'm going to hollow it because I don't want it to explode in the kiln. And then I'm going to take one of these giant loop tools, and I'm going to scoop out all of... Ooh, that's not that far. No, he has no brain. She has no brain. Crystal's not the smartest.
We should change the name.
We should change the name. All right, so now, and there was little air pockets in there, so it's really good that I'm doing this. So I want that to be hollowed, and I got to do the same thing here. I got to get it so that it's no more than 1 inch thick anywhere. But I want to leave area for this to score and slip to, because I'm going to put it back on. If it's a chia head, and careful not to like gouge out your eyes and things, that's no good. If you're going to make this into a chia head, then you want this to be its own little like reservoir here, and you're going to take, how did this go? That way? Nope. This way. Oh, blobs.
Go the other
It was
way.
it was the other way, wasn't it? That way. I want to take a loop tool, and I'm going to make, I want to go back here because I want to see it from the front, but somewhere towards the top. Circle, and I'm going to make a lovely hole right there so that I can water the head. And then the chia seeds will sit wherever they're going to sit. And this will stay wet in here. So you want to stop it here and then make a separate indent to hollow the bottom. If it's all one sculpture, you can just hollow all the way through and you don't need a hole in your head. Then you can just hollow down to the bottom and then the air can exit out the bottom. But it does have to be hollow and it does have to have an exit for the air. So, and then I would take this, I'd score and slip it back together. So keep them wrapped in the same moisture level. I squished it a little. And I don't want to see it, so I'm going to score, slip, stitch, quote, whatever I have to do so this is invisible. Yeah,
There's
thank you. All right, I'll be quick. And then, if I'm going to give it hair, I can do that over top and cover it up. So like I said, the hair should be the length and direction of hair. It shouldn't look striped. Maybe it comes down like this. And if you want to add like a thickness to the hair, you can do things like, maybe here it sweeps over, add a little bit and just loop this in. And then I can add my texture to this. And the texture should go all the way around whatever I add, so this becomes part of it. I can add a piece here and things like that, but I do want to make sure we have time for the photo. So, questions? That's it.